the best sounds ever. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now that a loud motorcycle is driving by. This is the StudentWitch. Hello. I hope everyone is enjoying their equinox celebrations. I'm here drinking a Cristal Tallboy beer. Chileans jokingly refer to Cristal, this brand of beer, as Cristagua because they say it tastes like water because it's a cheap beer, but I disagree. I think for a cheap beer it tastes pretty good. It's definitely better than something like Bud Light or Natty Light. Any US Americans out there, you'll know, and you'll probably have heard of Natty Light. It's gross. So this is definitely better than Natty Light. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about beer. I'm here to drink a beer while talking about the equinox, because this is my first spring equinox, or Ostara, in the southern hemisphere. And if you hear sounds in the background, my partner is doing dishes, but I also live next to a busy street, so that's just how we're gonna have to roll with this one. So today, as of the time of this recording, today is September 22nd. That means my partner and I officially have been in Chile for 3 whole months. We arrived on June 22nd. The plane landed at around 7 a.m. June 22nd. So we're actually celebrating our 3-month anniversary here in Chile. And man, I feel like this Ostara, this spring equinox, has been a mix of things. First of all, it's been, for me, as a native of the northern hemisphere, for me this has been a topsy-turvy kind of experience because, you know, I scroll through my witchy Instagram and my witchy YouTube subscription list, and it seems like everybody, or all the videos or all the posts are about Maven, you know, the fall equinox, it's witchy time, it's fall, it's the best time of the year. And I like all the seasons pretty much equally, but I do have a special place in my heart for fall, for autumn. But because of the timing of our move to Chile, this calendar year, 2019, I'm not going to get an autumn at all. And so I'm kind of bummed about that. But I'm going to get between December 21st, 2018 and December 21st, 2019. So during that 365-day period, I'm going to get 2 winter solstices, or I've already gotten those, and 2 summer solstices, and 2 spring equinoxes. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's amazing that nowadays in the 21st century, with airplane travel and the global world that we live in where everything is connected, that I'm able to experience something crazy like that. Because back, you know, just 100, 200 years ago, it would take months to travel as much as I was able to travel just on an overnight flight, right? So that's kind of mind-blowing. And it's thematically, it's poignant. I've said in previous videos that I purposefully chose the day, or between June 21st and June 22nd as the times that we were going to travel, because that was going from the summer solstice straight up to the winter solstice down here in the southern hemisphere, which was incredibly magical and symbolic for me to go from the height of the summer to the depths of winter and kind of experience the rebirth of the sun again and experience a rebirth in myself. And so I guess this leads to the second thing that I've been thinking a lot about this spring equinox. Besides being topsy-turvy and getting used to, you know, having a year without fall or Samhain, and also getting used to the weather in the southern hemisphere and in this particular part of the southern hemisphere, I also have been thinking a lot about and reflecting a lot about the work, the spiritual and emotional work and the physical work that I did, that both my partner and I did to prepare us for this experience. So I actually, back in January of 2019, when we were still living in the United States in Georgia, I started a spell, and I called it the Sweetening the Experience Honey Jar spell. And so it was based on the idea of a honey jar, of attraction. But it was a very long-term, it was a 6-month-long spell that I did, that I interacted with and fed daily. But I especially fed on the full moon. So every full moon between January and the end of May or June, I fed more honey into this honey jar spell, and it was a very special honey because it was honey that was harvested by my great uncle who lives in Appalachia, my great uncle Junior. And so this is a family member's honey. It has ties to my roots, my Kentucky Appalachian roots, family roots, and so that made it extra special. I put my hair and my partner's hair into the spell, along with herbs, and just every full moon I filled the jar more and more and more. And the idea was that this jar was supposed to help us both with the internal alchemy of mentally and emotionally preparing ourselves for the drastic change of moving to South America, but also externally by helping us out with, the physical change, financial stability, drawing in money and prosperity, helping us find a good, safe place to live. And I have to say, the spell was incredibly successful. And of course, when I do spell work, I like to leave a little bit of wiggle room because I don't want to be too specific when I'm trying to cast for something, especially something like finding a new home or prosperity or jobs or things like that. I like to leave the doors open because you never know how the universe is going to help you out, And here he comes. Come here, say hi. How are you doing this spring equinox?
Hi.
How are you feeling, our first spring equinox together?
I think we're doing much, much better than I thought we would.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, was how we kind of exceeded our own... I think we underestimated how well we would adapt to this craziness.
Yeah, probably that's a good way to put it.
I know, you can go do whatever you gotta do.
Bye, guys.
He's gotta go submit a proposal. Speaking of prosperity and stuff, actually, if you look on my altar, that candle here, this one here, the red and black one, got some stuff going on too. But anyway, so my Sweetening the Experience spell, it helped us to mentally and emotionally prepare for this, but also to draw in with the honey, with the sweetness, draw in these new opportunities and new comfort, just to help make this transition, this drastic change, as comfortable as possible. And, shortly after, within weeks of starting the spell back in January, we got news that he got his job here.
That's true.
And that he was able to start it as soon as we arrived in June, because he had to finish up his job back in Georgia before we could leave. We also were able to find this apartment through a friend of a friend, which was incredibly important because actually things like getting an apartment and signing a lease on an apartment, but also things like opening up a checking account can be really difficult here in Chile because of how things are set up. We still haven't been able to open a checking account here because all the banks require you to have, what's it called?
Well, seniority in your work.
Seniority or you have to prove that you've had your job for at least, like, some places it's 6 months, some places it's 4 months. They ask for a lot of paperwork, and if you're fresh off the airplane, so to speak, and brand new to the country, and you're just starting a job, like what our case was, we didn't have 4 months of pay stubs to show the bank that we have financial stability to be able to open a checking account. It's just crazy. And so we still haven't, even though we've been here for 3 months, we still haven't been able to open a checking account. And so the same thing goes for apartments. Like sometimes they want to see 6 months or a whole year of pay stubs before they want to let you sign a lease. And of course, we didn't have that. And so we were incredibly lucky to have the opportunity through a friend to contact somebody who just so happened to be moving back up to the US at the same, more or less the same time that we were coming down here. And we were able to go ahead and put the deposit down and sign the lease once we got down here. And it was just so easy because you're dealing, I mean, there's pluses and minuses with dealing with like friends when it comes to money and rents and stuff, but still, I mean, we would still have to stay, we would be living at my mother-in-law's house right now if we had to look for an apartment once we got here, without the, you know, proof of stable employment and all that kind of stuff. So in that way, just having this apartment, having our own space, things worked out. And also, like we were saying earlier, how surprised we are for how well we've been able to handle this. I think emotionally and mentally, the spell also worked. Our mantra, or my mantra, every morning I would do my little morning ritual, just like I do here, and I would feed the spell. I would offer it incense, and I would say to myself, we're not only going to survive in Chile, we're going to thrive in Chile. Like, not only survive, we're going to thrive. And so far, I have no complaints. We were able to set up this apartment. We're incredibly lucky finding really good deals on cheap but still good furniture. We found good deals on our couch and our kitchen table and our office and everything. I mean, these office chairs, I'm sitting in an office chair right now. We bought these last night. And the original price of these office chairs was supposed to be 20,000 pesos, which is more or less around $30 US. And we were only going to buy one because we would have to wait until October to buy the next one. But when we checked out at the store, it turned out the chair was on sale for 7,000 pesos. That's like $10, more or less. And so we went ahead and bought both office chairs. So now in our extra bedroom here in our office, we both have our office chairs on our desks. I have you propped up on a shoebox on my desk right now. Like, just little things like that have added up over time and really helped me to see, like, not only did we put in the work, but also, like, the magic worked too. And, like, having a long-term commitment to a spell like that from, like, January to almost June, and feeding that sucker every day, but also really feeding it every full moon, like, that kind of long-term commitment, it really, really helped make things click for me in here, but also in here, but also helps things fall nicely into place when it came to getting things set up here and financial stability and things like that. So I highly recommend, if anyone out there is about to embark on a huge, big life change, and this can be a life change that comes out of the blue or it comes at a short notice, but it could also be something you plan on. I highly recommend, like, giving some time to your spell work, because that really, really worked for me. I mean, sometimes you have to do that spontaneous spell work in the moment to try to cast for something or manifest something, but other times if you know, like, a big change, a big move is coming, and you have a few months to prepare for it, make a nice jar spell, or a slow moving but a steady burn kind of spell to help you out. That's my advice for a situation like this anyway. Yeah, what else about the spring equinox? It's our 3-month anniversary here. I'm still waiting on my immigration paperwork. Technically, my tourist visa expired 2 days ago. But we called, as soon as we arrived back in June, like in early July, we went ahead and sent in my application for a visa. But Chile right now is receiving so many immigrants, especially from Venezuela, Colombia, and Haiti, that their immigration system is just overwhelmed. And so even though the visa temporaria, which is a type of visa, it's a 1-year-long visa that I'm applying for as his spouse. Even though they say on the website it should take no more than 120 business days for it to be filed or processed or whatever, it actually, when we called them, it can take over 6 months to get your visa. So I'm not going to have a visa until like February, probably. Hopefully if they approve my application, first of all. Another reason why I have this going on back there on my altar. So I can't really leave the country and travel, but we're planning on traveling, especially in December for my birthday, which is the summer solstice down here. We're planning on having a little like 3-night weekend trip just for us. And yeah, good things are happening. This spring equinox has been a nice time to sit and reflect and also kind of celebrate the victories, you know? But also prepare for what's coming, because in the next 3 months I have a lot of fellowship applications that I have to process and send in. I also plan on writing the second draft of my first chapter between now and the summer solstice. So a lot of work is gonna go down. I feel like I'm finally transitioning from being in transition to being settled. And now that I feel more settled and I feel more belonging here, it's time to get to work. So yeah, that's been my spring equinox / Ostara rambles. Let me know how your equinox is going down in the comments, no matter what part of the world you're in. And until next time, many blessings. Bye!